So if you don't have words, there are other things you can do. You can use pictures. If you understand a visual picture, then you can use a picture to represent a word. And there's a whole system called PECS that some of you might have heard about, Picture Exchange Communication System. That does not mean that pictures are just words. It really is a communication system where you are exchanging a picture just as you would a word. So it's not just, I'm going to go over to the refrigerator and there's 10 food items on the refrigerator, so I'm going to point to milk and then I'm going to get milk whether somebody's here or not. I'm just going to stand there and keep pointing until the milk fairy comes and gets the milk out. Or a communication system where they're standing there and they can use the system, they know what the pictures mean, but it's not communicative. That's different than PECS. So I just want to point that out if you're looking at augmentative systems. Yeah. Pictures are very useful. So if you think about it, your children can probably understand, pick a number. How many pictures do you think your child, if you taught them that this picture goes with this word, how big would your child's vocabulary be? If you taught him, this is a cookie and here's the picture of cookie and I'm going to spend 15 minutes and you're going to know what a cookie picture is. How many words would your child have? Maybe hundreds? Maybe. So if it will help your child to have a bigger vocabulary and be able to tell you things when his words don't work, then pictures might be helpful. When I was first a speech pathologist, I worked in an infant program. And at that time, it was light years ago, at that time you didn't really learn about infants. You kind of did speech therapy once kids spoke. And I worked in a program with a lot of kids that had Down syndrome. And at that time, sign language was an augmentative system that was being widely used with children who had Down syndrome because their speech was very delayed for motor reasons, for cognitive reasons, delayed speech. But they were kids who, for the most part, would eventually use verbal language for the bulk of their communication, or at least some. But when I saw them, they were quite young and they were not using spoken language yet, and we'd use sign language. And there was a big, I'm not going to tell you what decade it was, but there was a big kind of concern from parents, well, if I teach him how to sign, he's not going to talk. Well, if I teach him how to use the system, then he's not going to speak. And I think that continues. I think about this from back then because I don't think this concern goes away. If I give him this system, then he's not going to talk. Talking is the easiest thing you can do. It's with you. It just falls out of your mouth when you need it to, and it's really easy, and everybody understands it, and it's a whole lot easier than signs. But if you can't come up with those words, then signs or pictures or gestures are much easier. And if you use the two and you can get your needs met and you can express what you need to express, then you're not going to be frustrated.